Recently, John, you went to the Catholic Voice Annual Conference 2016. What was it like?
Well, it was held on Saturday, the 5th of November 2016 in the Savoy Hotel in Limerick. There was upwards of 400, the hall was full in the Savoy Hotel, and it started introduced by Cardinal Raymond Buck, who also introduced it last year, but he introduced it again this year and then gave a speech. And there was, at the conference, there was about 5 or 6 speakers.
You were particularly impressed by the Dominican Sisters of Saint Cecila.
I was, and there was 4 sisters that came from part of the US, I think near Wisconsin or someplace like that. And they spoke briefly, each one, and they were excellent. They come at the invitation of the bishop, I believe, to Limerick to help in a parish in the city that has seen a certain deprivation, to deal with the people that have been marginalised and help them to rekindle their Catholic faith. And they have been very successful at that because they're calling to people in their homes and where they're at.
A lot of people are getting involved in mindfulness and yoga and various other things. Aidan Byrne was one of the speakers who spoke about that. Can you tell us?
He did, and spoke very well. It was something that I heard years ago and was advertised and supported a lot by the media at the time. And it was called transcendental meditation. And it was considered not to be not to be in conflict with the Catholic faith or the practice of the Catholic religion or the Christian religion. But in actual fact, it's a form of a religion and had very negative effects on people that had practiced it. You don't hear much about it now, but it had been well advertised and various seminars about it. It was based on Hinduism, which is a religion. So you've got yoga, which is also a religion when you go through with it. It's based on religious techniques into the lotus position, which is like sitting with your legs entwined. And it is presented by the media, generally speaking, in a very favourable light. The consequences of it is never highlighted. This is one of the effects of the media, that they don't give the whole full story, the whole truth of the matter. Mr. Aidan Byrne spoke very well about it and gave us all a good idea that how dangerous it was. That if meditation is quite okay for in the Catholic or Christian religion, but on Catholic matters.
Okay. John Smeaton is ProLife. He was also a speaker at the conference.
He was. John Smeaton is the chairman of the ProLife movement in the UK, which is pretty successful and effective. They put challenges in the legal system in that country because some of their members who try to influence unfortunate women that seek abortion in that country, they try to advise them, and there have been the abortion industry has tried to prevent and the pro-life people from talking to these ones that are seeking abortions, and to try to give them another avenue without sort of being aggressive about it. So the abortion providers seem to be very anxious for no information to be provided to the women seeking abortions.
John Lacken was also one of the speakers, I believe. Can you tell us about John?
Yeah, John writes in the Catholic Voice on family matters, particularly for people that are married with children. So he speaks about that. He spoke about it at the conference. His views are based on Catholic and on the Catholic faith and on what the Catholic faith teaches in that area, and that the breakdown of marriage has been caused by people not practicing the Catholic faith as being practiced down the centuries.
One particular person that you really enjoyed, I believe, was Father John Hunwicke.
I did. He was an Anglican in Britain, Great Britain, and with Pope Benedict's system of what they call the ordinary. A lot of these Anglicans joined the Catholic Church and become priests, and so he's a priest now in the Catholic Church. But his talk was once again on aspects of the pro-life, but it was very humorous, and his points that he put across were excellent, and had the audience, the 400 to 500 people that were there, in good voice. By the way, I just mentioned on this issue of pro-life, President-elect Trump in the US has come out just recently, since he's going to be the next president, and said that he's pro-life. So this is another slap in the face for the pro-choice and the abortion industry in that country. And he also proposes to withdraw the millions, the 400 odd millions that's taxpayers' money that's paid to the some organisation there called Parents for Choice or whatever it is. It's an organisation that gets a vast amount of money. In other words, 40% of their budget is paid for by taxpayers. So he's going to interfere with that. So it's going to be a great example to other countries that are now have introduced this abortion without pro-choice, what they call, without reference to the people.
What was the overall message of the Catholic Voice annual conference, do you think?
Well, the overall advice was that the Catholic faith and church is under severe attack from the media in this country, and indeed the media in other countries, and their views and the practice of the religion is put under strain. There doesn't appear to be in these jurisdictions like the UK and other ones that if people have a conscientious objection to having to, for example, with the same-sex marriage, having to deal with that, they should be entitled, because of their religious convictions, not to have to do anything that would conflict with that. That's very important. So this was highlighted, that Catholics and Christians and people that believe in the sanctity of life shouldn't have to go against these time-honoured, centuries-old traditions, and to have to kowtow to this secular agenda.
Okay. Thank you very much, John.
Thank you.